Hello, fellow Hunter the Call of the Wild fans. This is Ascend with the AscendX7 channel over on twitch.tv/AscendX7. Today, I just wanted to take a quick second and go over a few things that will be important to someone who's literally just starting the game. I myself just restarted. I made it to level 60 and I decided to start over. So, yesterday, I started over at level 1 again just so I can experience the progression through the game all over again. And it kind of a lot of questions come flooding back to me that not only I had, but that have been asked in the past weeks. So I wanted to address some day one questions that everyone should probably have the answer to when they first start. Again, this is very much basic stuff. We'll get into more advanced stuff in additional videos. But day one, as soon as you turn the game on, here's what you need to know. So first things first, it doesn't matter which map you're located on, whether it be Leighton Lake, Hirschfelden, or Medved. The maps are going to be broken down into sections, and then they're going to drill down into subsections. It's really not, in the grander scheme of things, super important, except when you're doing quests. For example, you'll notice here that this little highlighted area is the zone where I must complete a very specific quest. So sometimes they'll tell you go to Leighton Lows and do something in Runachi, do it there, or Mount Kraken. So again, a section and then subsections. Kind of basic stuff, but something that will eventually be necessary for you to know. Anything green represents something that you haven't unlocked. Anything that is white represents something you have unlocked. For example, the little house icon is an outpost, and the little binocular icon is a lookout tower. And they're both super important. Lookout towers help you figure out what's around you. And outposts are where you go to rest, where you buy supplies, and also when you either leave the game or might happen to get killed by an animal or fall off of a very, very high cliff. You end up respawning at the very closest outpost or tent if you've happened to place a tent somewhere. And I did say die. Yes, you can die in the game. Not really die, but you'll get so low of health it'll basically force you to respawn. Don't worry, you don't lose XP, you don't lose money, you don't lose anything. You just end up respawning back at an outpost. And the worst part of it is you may have to travel back to wherever you were. But again, that's not that big of a deal. Next thing you need to know is what the little icons in your outpost mean. This is where you go to rest. It looks like a bed. It's pretty obvious. You can activate that, and you can change the time to whatever it is very specifically you want it to be, and then you can select rest, and it'll change the time. That's really important if you don't like night hunting. You can change it to daytime, or if you need to be at a location at a very specific time. So that is the rest section. Over here is your cache. Your cache is just what it sounds like, except it's broken up into store, backpack, character, garage. Store, which is what this is where you go in and buy supplies, whether that's weapons, ammunition, sights, all the way down. You can purchase ATVs. So the backpack section is a little more interesting, but it's very straightforward. Left column here, it looks like it's one column, but it's actually storage and backpack, two columns. Whatever here is waiting for you to put into your active inventory, which is a backpack. There's a little catch to this. We'll talk to it in just a second. You have a total amount of weight that you can carry over here. The first number is what you're carrying. The second number is your total potential. So when I go down here and I select the musk deer scent, I'm clicking it, and it tells me it'll increase my weight to 19.04. If you have available space, not a big deal. Just drag it over and leave it there. If you don't have available space, you have to then start making some decisions. What do you put over there? What do you not? But again, it's pretty straightforward after that. You get down to tents and stuff like that. Tents weigh a whole lot. They're like 6 pounds. I have 2 in there right now because again I just started my game. I'm going to take them to important locations and drop them off. You have blinds and other stuff that you can purchase. But anyway, so that's the basics there as far as your actual backpack inventory. The catch is, by the way, when you first start the game, most cases on PC, you're not actually starting out with a backpack. So it says you have a backpack, but you really don't. You actually have to buy one. So you have to buy one, and of course you do that through the actual the store function. You go into equipment, you buy the backpack. One thing I want you should know from the very beginning, because you're gonna be tempted to run around with this the whole time. This increases your noise level and your visibility. So mistake number one that most people make, well not most people, many people make, is that they run around with that backpack on all the time, constantly. And they're like, Ascend, I'm not seeing animals. Animals are running constantly. And the first thing I ask, are you wearing a backpack? Yeah, I'm wearing a backpack. And it's like, I know it doesn't look like it. It shows a little 7 and a little 5, and it's all the way over here, the far left. It doesn't seem like it's adding a lot of visibility and sound, but it is an insane amount of noise level and visibility. So get rid of your backpack as soon as you can. Only carry it when you absolutely must. And again, you can change that within your character section. And this is pretty much for PC mostly. I don't know that you can actually do that on the consoles yet. But again, PC folks, don't run around with your backpack on constantly. And ignore the fact it says backpack here and backpack, in this column. You already have a pack. But this is adding basically an additional storage. And then finally, garage. I get it all the time. Like, I can't find my ATV. So after you purchase through the store your ATV, go to garage, select which one you want, and then you have to make a request. Make a request. It says your vehicles arrives. Get out of your cache, turn around, and then there is your lovely noise-making machine that will scare everything on the planet away, but get you where you're going very fast, ATV. So that's the basics of your outposts, your cache, all that kind of wonderful stuff. You know a little bit about your map. The last thing I want to touch on is your HUD. And your HUD's located for PC in the bottom right corner. You'll see a compass. You'll see something like numbers, like you see 4 of 51. You'll see a green bar. And then also you'll see a heart rate monitor, a visibility indicator, and a sound indicator on the bottom. So first things first, it's straightforward what a compass is. We all know it, so that I'm not going to insult your intelligence there. But the little green cone is an indicator that you really have to pay attention to. That is the direction in which your scent is blowing. The wind is blowing south, and it is taking all of your lovely odors and blowing it that direction. So if you're walking and you're walking directly into your scent, just understand everything in front of you is going to smell you, and it's going to put them in alert and eventually make them run. So best practice is go in the opposite direction of where the scent is blowing. I mean, it's just common sense, right? So that is your compass. The 4 out of 51 means in my particular weapon right now, I have 4 bullets in the chamber or in the magazine, 51 in storage. So when I go ahead and shoot, I now have 3 in the magazine and 51 in storage. I reload. Obviously, those numbers change. And you kind of go on about your merry way. And again, the health bar, that's full health that I have now. You can get all the way down to roughly where the plus sign is on the health bar before you'll get respawned. But it's like, I think you can take like 3 or 4, at least 3 kicks from an animal or attacks from an animal before you have to respawn. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, I think once you get hit 4 times, you're sent back to an outpost to rest no matter what. Again, that's not a big deal because again, you don't lose anything for it. So let's start with the sound indicator on the far right of the bottom line of your hub. and your HUD. And if you notice, there's just little dots there. That basically means you're making no sound. That's what you want at all times. And when you start out at the game, and there's some skills that you can acquire through the skill tree that makes you make less noise. But if you watch it right now, as I travel through this, look at it, it's starting to jump into the red. Red is not good. Red is like scaring animals like crazy. So your mission is to be as quiet as you possibly can while getting to the location you need to be in an effective amount of time. So there's a couple things you can do. One, avoid running. Running makes a lot of noise. Two, avoid walking straight through brush and undercover because that makes a lot of noise. Pay attention to the grass that you're walking to. There's certain types of vegetation that will make far more noise than anything else. The next thing you can do is sneak, crouch down. If you notice now, it's only one white bar. I stand up, 3 white bars. Huge difference, right? If you really need to be even more stealthy, prone makes you even more difficult to hear. And let's automatically jump into the centerpiece, which the center section of the bottom line of the HUD is how visible are you? If you notice while I'm prone, it's just a solid white line, which means I'm darn near invisible. I'm not completely invisible, but I'm darn near invisible. So I get into the crouch position, I'm basically half visible, standing up, and I'm here for the whole world to see. There's a few things you can do again, and you're going to make some noise doing this. You can find cover. Like I'm standing up now, but I'm hiding in a tree, and you notice I'm almost invisible. I squat, and I am pretty much invisible. Like it's just barely a little black line. I'm basically invisible to the animals around me. So there are some things that you can do. Not every tree or bush will give you cover like this. Not every tree or bush will give you cover like this, but just kind of pay attention. You can hide from the animals and call them to you, and these little techniques will help you, especially at the beginning of the game, be more effective when you need animals closer to you. So again, I stand up, and I'm back to being visible, and this really affects gold level animals, some silver. It affects them greatly, keeping them from coming too close to you. And then you notice I step out, and I'm right there for the world to see. The last thing we want to talk about is the heart rate monitor, which is, of course, obviously the left icon that has a heart and the little the beat indicator there. So when you're walking, it's not that big of a deal, but let me run for a second, and you'll notice over the course of time, and it's going to be a little quicker for you if you just started the game. I've already selected a couple skills that make my heart rate less easy to increase. And if you notice, it's starting to be quicker and quicker, and it's going to just keep going. And by the way, I'm running, and I have an animal warning me because they can hear me running. Now it's a red pulsating heart, and I'm going to start panting in a moment. You can hear me panting, and what that means is when I go to aim, it's going to, you see the cursor is just moving everywhere. Now I can slow it down a little bit with holding my breath, but since my heart rate was already out of control, I didn't have enough time to really steady the aim. So be careful when you get your heart rate elevated, and understand that you only have a finite amount of time to steady your aim when your heart rate's up. So again, if you notice here, I'm holding my breath and my heart rate is down, and it seems like I have a really good amount of time, and I'm still moving my mouse to compensate, but I had more than enough time. And you see how all heck breaks loose when my heart rate is crazy. So those are some real basic things to think about when you first start the game, or if maybe you're having a little bit, maybe a little bit of rough patch when you're starting the game. Again, know your outposts, what all the little symbols on the map mean. Understand how to manage your inventory, know about your wind direction, know about how much sound you're making, how visible are you at this moment. Again, just some real basic things that should help you to be a little bit more prepared in your game when you begin with. We'll definitely be doing more advanced, I guess we can call them tutorials for the game. and everything from how to shoot more accurately, how to call animals. So please keep checking back to our YouTube channel, or visit the broadcast at twitch.tv/ascendx7 whenever we're playing the Hunter Call of the Wild, which is darn near every day. Feel free to ask questions. We have no issue as a community answering questions. But again, we're going to try to do a really good job of providing a lot of information over here on the YouTube channel. So I would be honored if you hit the subscribe button while you're here on YouTube. Also, maybe pop over to twitch.tv/ascendx7 if you haven't already been there, and follow the channel there as well. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for listening to all that I have to say here. And again, I sincerely hope that your hunting experience with the Hunter Call of the Wild is amazing. And I hope to see you in chat over at twitch.tv/ascendx7. So thank you very much, and you have a blessed day.